Hello, people of the world. I don't know what the fuck I was going with that intro. Howdy. Wait for people to file in, I guess. Because currently I'm talking to no one. Yes, YouTube, thank you for the notification telling me that I went live. Oh, gee. Wasn't able to figure that out without your help. Hello, names, or for friends. How are you doing today? Just a little bit of a disclaimer before we officially start off, I guess. One, you're probably going to hear a lot of banging and like power tool noises and stuff. We're currently undergoing construction here in the house. We're doing some pretty major renovation downstairs, so if it starts to get a bit noisy, well, beyond my control, and well, too bad if it bothers you. And also, if I look a little bit sad, like I've been crying or something, I literally just finished Persona 5 like 15 minutes ago, and the ending hit me in the feels, so yeah. Yeah, I'm that type of wuss that gets emotional over video games. Whatever. Hello, Gushers. Slightly feeling down, but I'm fine. Well, that's unfortunate, but I hope you feel better. But yeah, I've been feeling decent, I guess. Glad you enjoyed it. You mean the game? Yeah, I did. I guess I'll take some time here at the beginning of the stream to talk about how I feel about the game. Well, I mean, with the exception of the Mother series, well, barring the first game, we don't talk about the first Mother game, even though I kind of like the game. It's not horrible, but still, yeah. I'm not a fan of RPGs. Really, Earthbound and Mother 3 are the two very rare exceptions, and I figured, since PlayStation Plus is offering the normal game, I know people have kind of ragged on me before for playing the normal game when Royal is out, but whatever. If you really want me to play Royal, gift me like however much Royal costs on the PlayStation Store plus tax, then maybe I'll play it. Otherwise, I'm just content with the regular game. But anyways, I'm not really a fan of RPGs, so it was kind of a game that was out of my lane. So, I mean, it was fun, but it still didn't entirely click with me, if you get what I'm saying. But regardless, I liked it. If nothing else, I really did like the cast of characters, and it was kind of sad to depart from them after playing as them for damn near a month. Oh, and special guest Charlie. Charlie's in the room with me, and I think he wants to leave. But hey, you saw him in one of these streams. That's a first, I believe. Doing summer school online for biology right now, and I have to use this shitty program called Edge Unity, and it has made my life a living hell. God, I feel bad for you. 2 summers ago, summer of 2019, I had to take a summer class for math because I failed a placement exam. It was for college. I had to take this class because, again, I failed a placement exam requiring me to take, like, math, and it was for the college to, determine, like, where you are in math, and I failed that test, so they're like, yeah, you need to work a little bit more, so work a little bit harder, expand your knowledge on math, whatever. But I took that class, and it was god fucking awful. Worst summer of my life. It was from July 1st to sometime in late August. I had to take that class. Oh god, it was from fucking 9 in the morning to like 3 in the afternoon. Had to sit in the same hot room for all those hours. We had an hour break at like 12, but it was not nearly enough. Oh. Just thinking about that really just brings some pretty bad memories because I hated being in that class so goddamn much. But thankfully this summer I'm off, got nothing to do. Applied for a Target job, but I got rejected. Well, not exactly rejected, but pretty much. I mean, they said, oh, we'll take your application into consideration in case a position opens, but there's a good chance they're not going to get back to me. Charlie is so cute. Indeed, he is. He spent the night with me. Unfortunately, thanks to the construction in the house I mentioned earlier, I woke up at like 9 in the morning because of all the banging and all the noise. And if you know me, I'm a person that loves sleeping in late. I stay up until like 5 or 6 in the morning, and then I sleep until like 1:30 to 2 in the afternoon. And you might say that's a pretty shit and abnormal sleep schedule, but it's normal for me, so whatever. That's how I prefer to. That's my preferred sleeping schedule. And whenever that's tampered with, I'm in a really bad mood and really angry because, again, my sleep was tampered with. You don't tamper with my sleep. Had to wake up at 6 in the morning to attend class. That's brutal. Do you actually have to go physically, or is it? Oh wait, you said it's an online class. Fucking stupid. But no, that's unfortunate. I hated doing that some years ago when I had to take that math summer class. Like, it's bad enough that I had to take a summer class where I had to be there from 9 to 3 in the fucking afternoon, 9 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and a very, very tiny break in between. But the salt on the wound was that it was a fucking math class. Like, I don't like math at all. I'm not a math person. I've always been way more of an English person. Always been good at writing. Always been good at like reading comprehension and shit like that. That's always been my strong suit. But math has always been my fucking downfall. So having to take a class for such an absurd amount of time, almost nonstop, it really takes a toll on you. It really does. I don't know why the chat doesn't show up on the live streams screen. I have to open my channel and then click on the live stream from there to see the chat. It's very weird. I had the same problem last time. You can physically go if you want to. Well, if I absolutely had to take a class like that, I would definitely go with online. I like the luxury of just doing my work in the comfort of my own bed. Hello, 8 people who are watching this. If you're like me, I casually sleep at any time because I got nothing to do. Sleep all day, sleep all night, stay up all day, stay up all night, recycling all over. Sounds like my life. You know, I past 3 weeks. Well, want to know what I've been doing the most? Fucking playing Persona 5 on my PS5, just wanting to finish the game already. Again, I like the game, like the characters, the story was pretty neat, but JRPGs really aren't my thing. I'm sorry. I have yet to play the first Mother game. I mean, if you really want to, but if you played the second two, I mean, those are the real games to experience, in my opinion. And basically, Earthbound, if you didn't know already, is just a vastly, vastly improved version of Mother 1. But Persona 5 has entered the very tiny list of games that have successfully made me cry. I'm not afraid to admit that. Again, the ending wasn't heartbreaking. It didn't end with a tragedy or anything. Minor spoilers, by the way. But it was more like heartwarming, you know? It hit me right in the feels. There's the first game to ever make me cry was the first Drawn to Life game. Very underrated game on the DS. Same with its sequel. It's a very, very underrated DS franchise. I highly recommend playing it, especially if you like the concept of drawing your own character and playing as it. There's also Earthbound, Mother 3, Resident Evil Village, and now there's Persona 5. I can't think of any other game that has successfully got me emotional. At least not currently. Problem with me is that if I do it from home, I just fall asleep and miss the entire class. Well, that's been my problem this whole time we've been doing this online class thing ever since the pandemic hit. You know, I do really like the comfort of just, you know, working on my attending class and working on college work at the comfort of my own home, in my room, on my bed. But it has definitely made me considerably more lazy as opposed to when I was actually going to college and going to school. I felt like back then I was more on top of my work because it felt like, you know, I felt a bit more disciplined because you're actually seeing the professors face to face. You're actually going somewhere, so I felt like a little more pressure was on me to do well and to finish work on time. And I mean, I did pretty well this semester. I passed all my classes, got pretty good grades for all of them, actually. But the semester before, I mean, I was also going through a tragedy. My grandmother passed away during my semester before this current one. But even still, I was falling behind a lot of my work. And I feel like even if, in despite of that, I feel like even still, if I was physically going to college during that time, I probably would have done at least a little bit better and stayed a little bit more on top of my work. Thoughts on Iceberg Abyss? I don't know what that is. Hello, Sanolianic. How you doing? Hello, Gavin. Where am I from? I am from the United States. I live in NYC. Oh, Miracle, yeah. What, are you disappointed? America Day is coming relatively soon. Like, what, a week? Talking about July 4th. Well, over a week, nearly 2 weeks away, but. Eh. You feel sorry for me? I mean, I'm doing pretty good here. I mean, could be better, but I'm hanging in. I'm doing relatively well here. Okay, bitches. Oh, that's an old one. I forgot about that meme. What am I going to college for? To be honest, I still have no clue what the fuck I want to do with my life, but I guess maybe English is my focus. That's the class I've been doing the best in and putting most of my focus in. Maybe someday I'll get into journalism or something like that. I don't know. I have the added stress of not knowing what I really want to do with my life. But people are like, you gotta go to college, you gotta go to college. Your birthday's in July. Cool. I have a friend whose birthday is also in July. I think it's on the 29th or something. July is a pretty cool month, despite the fact that it gets hot as hell here in NYC during July usually. I remember one July, like 10 years ago, I think, we had this massive, massive heat wave. Like one day it hit the hundreds here in NYC, and I think that was the last time it even hit the hundreds here. A brutal day, I remember. Theirs is on the 22nd. Fuck college. I'm not doing that. Well, I mean, it's your life. You choose what you want to do with your life. And I'm not trying to be patronizing or anything. I legitimately mean that. Do what makes you happy. Here's some good news in this godforsaken world for once. A judge denies Derek Chauvin's request for a new trial in the death of George Floyd. The ex-officer is set to be sentenced later today. Get fucked, rot in hell. Rot in a jail cell before you rot in hell. Evil motherfucker. I'm glad there is at least some justice being served in George Floyd case, though. It's very, very, very satisfying because usually the outcome is, oh, the police officer gets away, at least mostly scot-free. Maybe they're on leave, but they still get paid, or other teeny tiny little measures like that. But this time, we're actually seeing some form of justice. I mean, some people will argue, still not enough. We're still not seeing reform. We're still not seeing abolition. But hey, it's a step in the right direction, okay? At least the country is starting to realize that the system might be fucked up, especially against those that are marginalized. And the more people who are aware of the injustices within the system in this country, maybe there will be at least some hope of some positive change happening, at least sometime in the future, But maybe I'm being a bit too hopeful, but nothing wrong with retaining at least some optimism, right? In this bleak, bleak world we live in. You just got home? Cool. Welcome, Justin, to the stream. You live very close to where the whole George Floyd thing happened. Wow. Can't imagine living in Minnesota during that whole time. Must have been pretty hectic. I mean, things were kind of crazy here in NYC as well. There were protests out the ass. There were even some cop cars running over protesters, attempting to kill them. By the way, NYC's totally communist, am I right? Anyway, but yeah, there's also some fucking crazy guy near where I live trying to run over some teenage protesters and bringing out a fucking specialized custom glove with like blades, like it's fucking Wolverine blades or something like that. Guy was recently, he wasn't sentenced, but he's possibly facing up to 25 years in prison now. Get fucked, especially to all those fucking conservative pundits trying to laud the guy as some sort of hero. You also saw fucking nut jobs in the comment section under uploads of that video saying he should have run them over. He should have stabbed them. Because, conservatives totally only care about the peaceful protesters, right? Here were these teenagers peacefully protesting. This guy tried to run them over, and you're cheering that on. Yeah, the nearby police stations were protected with barbed wired fences, and they had the National Guards out. Yep, I heard all about that, Minnesota. Can't wait to get my new bed on the 6th. It's pretty comfortable, and I get a matching bedroom set. That's nice. The bed I'm laying on currently is one that I got back in November. The old bed I had started to sink. It broke, so it's pretty uncomfortable to sleep on for a few months, but we eventually got a new bed. We actually got pretty lucky because my cousin, someone they knew, was getting rid of a mattress, and it was pretty perfect timing because I had a broken bed. So instead of throwing it away, a perfectly good unused mattress, I got it. It's very comfortable, and I love this bed a lot. It's pretty massive. Probably a little too big for this room, but I'm not complaining. I like it. Now legal to run over protesters in Florida. It's fucking scary. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Imagine it's pretty fucking scary. Land of the free, am I right? Where peaceful protesters can now be run over. Would you ever try to speedrun a game? Well, maybe someday I'll attempt to speedrun a game that I'm pretty confident I'm good at. Like maybe Resident Evil 4, which, by the way, now that I'm done with Persona 5, I'm going to go back to a game that I'm familiar with. My millionth playthrough of Resident Evil 4. But, no. Yeah, that's probably a game that'll maybe try to speedrun someday since I played it like fucking 15 or something times at this point. I don't know, maybe. I've never tried to speedrun a game. Hello, Shadow Ice. America, the land of stupidity, indeed. Speedrun Ori 4. Yeah, you've been telling me that a couple of times. Maybe someday I'll make it happen. Florida passed a bill that forces students and faculty in colleges and universities to do a survey sharing their political beliefs. Yeah, someone shared that in my server the other day. Literally 1984 shit. You gotta love all these conservatives, fucking Republicans screaming about 1984 every time they get banned off of Twitter or something for saying the N-word, and then you have shit like this passed, or at least proposed by the GOP, and you hear fucking crickets. Cancel culture, 1984. Shit like this happens. Oh, we don't care because it's our side doing it. I was told a few months ago that Trump would run for president again in 2024. Well, he says that. I would not be surprised at all if he actually does try to run for president again, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the nomination, and God, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins either. But hopefully things don't come to that. Not to get TOS here, but fingers crossed something happens before 2024. You catch my drift? I wonder if a no damage run on Persona 5 is possible. Well, good luck with that. I don't know how it would be possible to not get hit once in that game, but if it's possible, then go for it. I'd be pleasantly surprised. I don't think it is at all. Yeah, turn-based games like that, I mean, taking damage is kind of sort of something you can't avoid, right? You want to know something hilariously stupid? Conservative parents throwing temper tantrums over Blue's Clues LGBTQ pride song. I didn't even know that happened. Cool. Based Blue's Clues. I heard that show came back, but Blue's Clues ain't shit without Steve. I'm sorry. Even if he doesn't run, the GOP is pushing for the Florida governor to run in 2024, and he's basically a less dumb version of Trump. Well, yeah, I know. DeSantis is pretty fucking... It's pretty scary. I mean, kind of have to thank God that Trump was a loudmouth dumb fuck, so he wasn't taken as seriously as he could have if he was, like, more eloquent and intelligent and, you know, a little less, I guess, outspoken, or however you want to word it. But Politicians like DeSantis does genuinely worry me. Yeah, Steve is the best. Steve is the GOAT. Yup. iCarly show came back as a reboot. Yeah, it did. It's on the Paramount Plus thing. I don't have it. I don't plan on getting it. Maybe I'll just pirate the show like I've been doing with Nickelodeon shows lately. Anyone hear that Drake Bell from Drake and Josh is a pedo? I've heard like rumblings of that throughout the years, but he pled guilty the other day, and gotta say, I'm pretty disheartened. I'm actually very, very disheartened. Drake and Josh is probably, I would say, the only Nickelodeon sitcom that I still like to this day. I mean, iCarly had some good episodes, okay? Not to say that iCarly was totally bad, but it really suffered from seasonal rot towards the end. It went on for a bit too long. Drake and Josh ended at the perfect time, and overall, it was the funnier show. I mean, come on. Is anyone going to deny that? People are doing everything they can to make sure his re-election bid in 2022 fails miserably. Well, good luck with that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that effort fails. Hello, Jav Vids Sussy Baka. I don't know what that means. Damn, I'm upset. That kind of ruined my childhood. Yeah, it was pretty crushing. Very crushing. Even though I kind of already knew that Drake was a pedo, but just him pleading guilty and basically admitting that, yeah, he's a creep. Just all the more, soul crushing. The inner child within me really wept upon hearing that news. Jeanette McCurdy stated she wouldn't be coming back to the show because of dark stuff with the Dan Schneider situation era. I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. I'd imagine iCarly does bring back some pretty dark memories for her, so yeah, she doesn't have to come back if she doesn't want to. But yeah, the Drake Bell stuff was pretty depressing. But Josh has always been my favorite out of the two. I mean, is there really anyone out there who preferred Drake over Josh? Is there? You ever smoked weed before? Oh, absolutely. um, yeah. Now that it's legal in NYC, gonna be 21, less than a year. Hell yeah. But yeah, I've smoked weed plenty of times, and I've had edibles too. Josh Peck is a god. Yeah, I agree. What's good? What's good? Got a Venus flytrap today, by the way. Cool. Ever since my grandma passed away, we've stopped kind of paying attention to the garden. Feel bad. She always took care of it, but now that she's gone, there's no one really around to water the plants or anything, or take care of the little peach tree we have in the back. It's kept kind of sad and depressing, but don't mean to really sour the mood. So now that I have the attention of 13 people, how are you all doing? Is your day going well, everyone? Hope so. My day has been relatively okay. I've barely done shit. All I've really done before this stream is finish Persona 5 and nothing really else. Before that, it was a few hours of me tossing and turning while hearing banging and loud machines because, again, my house is under construction. That's very fun. Downstairs is basically unusable. Tiling is gone. The ceiling got redone. Everything is all over the place. The furniture. My mom is always like, it'll pay off. The house will look beautiful when this is all done. When in like a fucking year. It's very frustrating and long process, but I mean, for the past few months, we kind of had to wait for some money to. Oh, I've accidentally hit your message, whatever. But yeah. What do I think of Kanye West? Don't listen to his music, and I think the dude's a douchebag, but it's really the extent, my opinion, of him. I'm getting raided, aren't I? I guess I've officially made it. I'm now getting my streams rated. Holy shit, thank you, Gushers, for the $2. Go buy yourself a snacky snack. Thank you. Yeah, I've recently entered the partner program. I don't monetize my videos, but I do have Super Chat enabled in case anyone wants to throw money my way, I guess. But I wasn't expecting anyone to actually give me money, but hey, Gushers pulled through. Thank you for being the very first person to donate money to this channel. What was that sound in the background? It's part of the construction. Today in the kitchen, we're getting to the whole house. Well, not the whole house, but the whole downstairs renovated, and we're getting the kitchen completely redone. So now they're getting rid of the counters and cabinets and everything. And they've been breaking that all day and throwing it out in the yard. So that's probably what you heard. They've been throwing it out. They've been throwing a bunch of stuff out in the yard recently. You're a troll too, aren't you? Hi. Been doing GTA Liberty Stories 100% no damage run, and there's these there's these two rampages that have been a total pain in the ass. I'm always getting shot no matter what. I don't know if I ever want to endure the pain of playing a game with receiving no damage at all. I did, however, manage to beat Resident Evil 4 on my last playthrough without taking any damage not taking any damage. I mean, not dying at all. That's been my goal for a very long time, and I finally achieved it in my latest playthrough. Now that I finally achieved that, I don't really give a shit. I can die all I want in the game. Hey, been doing okay. Hello, Twilight Sunset. Yeah, damn, they're really coming out of the woodwork today. I don't know. You think someone as insignificant as me wouldn't live so rent free in the minds of like so many people? But I guess I'm significant enough for at least some people to Raid my stream. Whatever. Bringing more viewers my way, though. Happy about that. Well, now that I got $2 from Super Chat, I gotta check how I claim that. It's probably a relatively simple process, I'd imagine. Fortunately, Google takes a cut of it, so I don't get the whole $2. I think they take like 20% of that. But it's still very appreciated nonetheless. Supers. Ah, there we go. That's how you claim it. Well, I can see it, but how do you claim the money? I'll figure it out when the stream's over. I'm not going to bore you with all that. That'll go straight to my PayPal. Oh, yeah, I got to link PayPal. I have a PayPal account, but I don't use it. Wait, you don't look like David Bowie IRL? What made you think I looked like David Bowie? I wish I did. Holy shit, especially his hair. Absolutely jealous. You went to Nintendo World? Like, the Nintendo store, you mean? Is that what it's called, Nintendo World? I thought it was just like, just referred to as the Nintendo store or whatever. Thoughts on Leisha 1997? I have no clue what that is. I'm sorry. If I ever go to NYC someday, I definitely want to check it out. Well, I live in NYC, but I've never been to the Nintendo store. It's a place I definitely want to go to someday, but it's not on the top of my list of places to visit. You're on a roll. Love his cheekbones. No homo. Nothing wrong with saying that. I say that as I associated your voice with that photo of Bowie from the MTV interview, as you don't show your face a lot. Well, the only time I really ever show my face are these streams. Only times I've showed my face for these streams. I mean, once in the blue moon, I show my face in videos. I think most recently I showed my face in the video where I read a bunch of old bad Meverse posts I made. But aside from that, I don't really like showing my face that much. I'm a very ugly person. And I'm very, very shy when it comes to being in front of a camera. Being in front of a microphone is pretty easy. I've been doing that for years, but in front of a camera, I'll be honest, every time before I do these streams, I get so damn nervous. Like I think something is gonna go wrong or anything along those lines. But you know, just the idea of speaking in front of people without having really any control, like, you know, like you would while making a pre-recorded video, just kind of spooks me, you know. I don't really know how people can really do this for a living because I get so, I wouldn't say overcome with anxiety, but I do feel at least a little anxious before doing these streams. But I do have to give props to people who like stream 12 hours a day or something like that. Jesus. Like, I can't stand those who say streaming is not hard work. All you do is just sit there and talk to the camera or play video games. Like, you gotta have a certain level of charisma and be entertaining, be able to hold the audience's attention for a long period of time, especially if you're doing it like 12 hours a day. Like, I'm not knocking any of those people who do that. They have talents beyond my comprehension. Holy shit, thank you, Mexican Link. Use this to buy a Yakuza game or something, I don't know. Now I'm gonna feel pressured to buy a Yakuza game with this money. Thank you. Or maybe I'll just buy it. I'll just use it to like buy GameCube games or something, or buy one GameCube game. I currently have like 100 something in my credit card. My cat's meowing at the door. I'll let you in, Charlie. Or let you out, I mean. I forgot he was in here. Yeah, don't forget the equipment. When it comes to live streaming for that long, you gotta have, can't just have a little MacBook like I do. I don't want to sound rude, but why were messages being deleted? Just my question, that's all. It's not being rude. I don't mind the question at all. I don't mind the question at all. I mean, suck at speaking. Being rated by trolls, like this one right here. I don't know if it's because of the Jimmy Dore video or just the usual group of trolls that like to sometimes, once in a blue moon, bother me and a friend of mine. God, I was like, when I enabled Super Chat for this channel, no one's gonna fucking donate to me. No one. Not that significant to throw money at, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Jesus. You mean Dogecoin? I don't invest in that. I don't really fuck with cryptocurrency. Tough question for me, but do you have a favorite song by Bowie? This is probably going to be a very, very sellouty answer because this is one of his most popular songs, but it's Heroes. It's a fucking amazing song. Like, the emotion Bowie pours into that song, it really just hits me, you know? My favorite album is Heroes, too. I love songs like Beauty and the Beast and Secret Life of Arabia and Blackout and I like the whole thing, okay? I don't have to list the whole thing for you. But his late 70s, more experimental tracks, I like. More experimental albums, I mean, I really like. You know, like Low, and again, Heroes. But my favorite period of Bowie, the Berlin period, even though the only Berlin album was the Heroes. Second favorite Bowie album, very close second to Station to Station. I know that's not part of the Berlin period, but I still consider it like kind of part of it, the beginning. Hello, Jonah. How are you doing today? They used that song in regular show too. Yeah, regular show. It ended with that song, right? Heroes. Because I saw a bunch of comments under. I saw a bunch of comments under that song saying, "Who's here from the regular show ending?" And also other forms of media brought people to that song, like Stranger Things and some movie that came out. I forget the name of it. Thoughts on the new Zelda Age of Calamity game? I don't pay attention to games like that. It's the Hyrule Warriors thing, right? Something along those lines. It's not actually Zelda, so I don't really pay attention to it. However, Skyward Sword, I am going to play. I don't know if I'll buy it right away, right when it releases. There's other games that I'm far more interested in getting for the time being. Like I do want to buy Last of Us 2 physically used because I don't need to pay full price for it. The game's been out for a year. And also GameCube games have taught me, collecting GameCube games have taught me that if it's used and it works fine, nothing new. It's nothing terrible. Like I can bear playing a used game. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked because I keep looking at the chat while I talk. That's always been my downfall during these streams. I go on a tangent, but then I completely lose my train of thought because while speaking simultaneously, I'm reading the chat, distracting myself. I should probably stop doing that, but I love paying attention to all of you. Oh, Age of Calamity is the fucking sequel to Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna play it. Wait, is it? No, this is like a spin-off thing. I don't think the sequel to Breath of the Wild has an official name yet, right? So no, it's just like it's like a side thing, is it? Yeah, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So I was right. I'm not interested in Hyrule Warriors. If you like it, fine. I'm not shitting on you, but it's personally nothing I'm interested in. I thought you were gonna say Let's Dance. I can't even pick as he has so many good songs, but Heroes makes me tear up. My favorite LP is Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. No, Let's Dance. I'm not a fan of Bowie's 80s pop period, like, at all. I mean, he has some good stuff from, like, the more poppy albums, but Let's Dance is not one of those songs I enjoy. Shit. Joy-Con drift? That sucks. I've never experienced that because I don't play on the Joy-Cons. I always play on the Pro controller. Much prefer that over playing on the Joy-Cons. Been obsessed with playing A Link to the Past recently. It's fun. Yeah, it's a really good game. I played it a few years ago on the Wii U. Have you heard the rumors of Mario Kart 9 yet? There's rumors of Mario Kart 9. I didn't even know a new Mario Kart game is in the works. But Pog, I'll definitely get it whenever the fuck it releases. I don't know if it's expected to release anytime in the relatively near future. You hate drifting on your Switch. I never play on the Joy-Cons. I played on the Joy-Cons a few times back when I first got the Switch, but then a few months later, I got the Switch for Christmas 2017, and then a few months later, for my birthday, I got the Pro Controller, and ever since, I've been playing on the Pro Controller whenever I play on the Switch. I really don't see any need to play on the Switch on the Joy-Cons, and I don't play in handheld mode either. I always play on the TV. I know there are people who are the complete opposite. They always play on handheld mode and they never play on the TV. But for me, playing on the TV is most ideal for me, or at least the way I prefer playing it. I thought I would like the handheld gimmick that the Switch had going for it a lot more. And don't get me wrong, it's a very, very, very neat gimmick, especially for those who like it. And it's very convenient. You can play your full-fledged console games on the go. But for me, prefer just playing it on the TV. Not like I go anywhere anyway, so I don't really need to bring the Switch along with me because I don't have a life. Shit, where did I leave off? I'm getting a lot of messages while I was going on that tangent. I don't have the Switch. I don't even own it. Oh, well. I mean, there's good games on the Switch, so if you really want to get it, then go for it. But I have not played on my Switch in the longest time now. It's my least favorite Bowie LP, Black Tie, White Noise. It has like 3 songs I like on it, but that's about it. It's a very, very generic 90s pop album, and I don't like the sound of that one at all. Oh shit. Breaking. Officer Derek Chauvin sentenced to 22 years in prison for the killing of George Floyd. Isn't that true? True? You're pulling my leg. Derek Chauvin sentenced for George Floyd's murder. Derek Chauvin sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison for the victory. Holy shit. What a fucking monumental moment. God, I'm so happy I streamed during this. Former Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison in the 2020 murder of George Floyd. Prosecutors had asked for a 30-year sentence, and Chauvin's attorney asked for probation and time served. Chauvin was convicted in April of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Technically, Chauvin faced up to 40 years in prison for second-degree murder, up to 25 years or for third-degree murder, and up to 10 years for manslaughter. However, Chauvin had no prior criminal record. State guidelines say that such a person, the presumptive sentence for both second degree and you know what? Could have been longer, but I still take this as a victory, okay? Maybe he'll die in there. And yes, I'm a pretty fast reader. Yeah, I'm sorry for doubting you. It's true. The judge just sentenced him. Sorry, I thought, I don't know. I've been getting a lot of trolls in here, so I didn't know if someone was just saying that. But yeah, it's awesome. Very, very awesome. To be honest, there's tons of games on the DS that I still love to try out. I recently brought out the DSi again. DSi XL to be more exact. I've been playing a little bit on that. I don't know if I'll get into DS collecting though. Not really that interested. But now that I have the 35 and $2 on top of the already over $100 I have on my credit card, I'm definitely gonna buy some new games. I want to buy Last of Us Part 2 physically, like I mentioned earlier, because and also used because I don't care about getting it used. Like I said before, GameCube collecting has taught me that if a game is used and is still in good condition, there's no reason to complain. I mean, I got Doom Eternal used, and it looked like it was practically new. No scratches on the disc whatsoever. The cover was in excellent condition. Like, I just bought it from the store. And I know that game is relatively controversial. It's woke garbage, but I'm willing to try it out. I like the first game. I don't like pinups as it's all covers and is self-titled 67 LP. I don't really count pinups since it's a cover album. But yeah, the 67 album is... I do like it a little bit more than the than the than the album I mentioned earlier, Black Tie, though. Let's fucking go. Hey man, it's been good, but I'm going to my friend's house. See you later. Have fun, Dusters. See ya. Thank you for the $2, and of course, thank you, Mexican Link, if you're still here for the $35. Holy shit. I never thought I'd be saying that also in any of these streams. Thank you for giving me money. God. Hello, Leo. Guitar Rocker, welcome. You missed my reaction to Derek Chauvin getting 22 and a half years in prison. It's pretty glorious. And also, Guitar Rocker, I think some of your YouTube poop trolls or whatever were raiding the chat earlier. I think that was them. Thinking about buying a Canon camera soon to make short films. That's cool. Only camera I need is this, my phone. Recorded my last video on my phone, and every time I record with the camera, it's usually on my phone. Sometimes I record with the little webcam here on the laptop, but for the most part, shoot on my phone because, come on, it's 4K, 60 frames per second. Don't have any fancy equipment for my channel, unfortunately. Oh, you saw? Oh, cool. But still, yes, victory, 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 victory. Oh god, Twitter must be blowing the fuck up about this. Let me check some of this. Here, on the trending tab, 22.5 years. Years in all caps. Oh god, the conservative cope must be off the charts right now. Do I dare go to the Donald.win or whatever it's called now, Patriots or whatever? Oh my god. Here we go. Let's do latest. All of these are from, all the top posts are from like 6 hours ago. Right away, there's no way to disprove that George Floyd died of a drug overdose. Surprisingly pretty cool. Oh, wait, here we go. 22.5 minus whatever time it takes for us to vote a Republican into federal government to free Chauvin, you fucking twinks. Haha, get him. This isn't over. Oh, God, the fucking cope. 22.5 years for kneeling on the fentanyl martyr. To riot or not to riot, that is the question. Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22.5 years. Thoughts? Oh, God, what are the posts under here? Wonder what he would get if he actually killed the drug addict. 0 would be the right number. Sentencing guidelines are 10 to 15 years. That court is a disgrace, not only because of the exclusive sentence, but for denying him a retrial as well. That's all I really need to see, really. I mean, I figured as much that Patriots.win, formerly the Donald.win, but alas, they had to change that because their cult leader didn't get another 4 years. I figured there was going to be a lot of coping there. And I remember getting a lot of joy looking at that website around the time Trump lost, but now it's just more depressing than anything. I remember back when Derek Chauvin was first found guilty, second-degree murder and other charges along with that. I went to the same website, and one of the first things I saw was BLM is doing the monkey dance now, and I'm like, yeah, that's all I need to see. That's all I need to see. Hear about FNAF's creator donating to terrible Republican politicians. People are shit, but I think he can be criticized for it. Yeah, I heard about that. I haven't been really paying attention to that because I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's, never cared about the guy who created it, but yeah. Sucks as a human, I guess. Right Wing Cope will have a lot of material after this. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I'm sure whoever runs that account is creaming themselves right now over the fucking material they'll have over the course of the next few weeks. Oh, there's video of him getting sentenced. Wait, let me listen to this. You'll probably hear this too. You'll probably hear this too. Oh, wait. Whoa. Echo. There we go. I muted the tab that has my stream playing. Shit. Sorry.
As sentence for count 1, the court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on your abuse of a position of trust and authority.
His eyes are darting all over the place. Like, oh my God, I'm so fucked, dude. Oh, I love to see it.
And also the particular cruelty shown to George Floyd. You were granted credit for 199 days already served. Pay the mandatory surcharge of $78 to be paid from prison wages. You're prohibited from possessing firearms, ammunition, or explosives for the remainder of your life. Provide a DNA sample as required by law. Register as a predatory offender as required by law. And then you will receive a copy of the order and also the attached memorandum explaining the court's analysis. Anything further from the state?
If this needs to be said, we just ask that it be executed forthwith.
Defendant is remanded to the custody of the sheriff to be transported back to the DOC or whichever custody is currently holding him. Anything for the defense?
All right.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
How satisfying. I feel like Vosh playing a clip on stream and then commentating over it. Wonder what right-wing cops are going to say about this. Oh, it's going to be a cope show for like the next 3 weeks or something like that. That's hilarious. I doubt he'll last in jail unless they have a bunch of security for him. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, though. I've already been streaming for over an hour. What the fuck, dude? Oh my god. I thought I've only been streaming for like 40 minutes. Jeez. Time flies when you're having fun, am I right? Hey, I'm proud that I've been able to retain at least 10 people watching this, even though I had like 17 people here earlier. I don't speak weeb, but I'm sure that's a funny reference he did there. Devil Wolf. Joking. Maybe I'm getting there, though, because I played Persona 5 for the past, like, 3 weeks. But this is truly a glorious day. I picked a great day to stream. God. Oh, wait. I'm reading this tweet right now. Only 22.5 years, and he will serve 2/3 of that. And his mother stating that he's her favorite son and never once mentioning the George Floyd family. Their family motto must be no remorse. Yeah, that definitely sours it quite a bit. But honestly, I'm still... Again, I know it could have been longer. He got off, I guess, kind of, sort of light, if you still want to consider 22 years, or at least 2/3 of 22 years light. Actually, what is 2/3 of 22 and a half years? Two-thirds of 22.5. If Google's calculations are correct, then he gets 15 years in prison. I mean, any length of time being in prison is going to be horrible. I'd imagine how things will go down for him during his 15 years in prison. Basically, I can't read that, I'm sorry. It's a dead meme, and it's too late for you. You're already dead in Japanese. Ah. Now I finally know what the meme means. Because I've seen so many people post "Nani" in chat, and I never knew what the fuck it meant. Or, I mean, in comments. Also chats, too. I think I've seen live chats with people saying that in it. But mostly comments. I'm glad he got served justice. Yeah. All the people complaining about him getting off, at least relatively light, still have a valid point, of course, but still, the fact that any form of justice was served in this case, I'm happy. Because so many times in the past, police officers have gotten off essentially scot-free after their injustices, and to see a police officer finally be held accountable for being a detestable piece of shit, it's very nice to see. Very, very nice to see. And like I mentioned earlier in this stream, it's very nice to see the general public finally realize the injustices that are carried out in the system all the fucking time in this country, and people are more aware that the police are not there to protect and serve you, but rather be an oppressive arm of the state and to keep marginalized people marginalized. That's all for my spiel. Well, got kind of passionate there, but can you really blame me after hearing all these stories of police brutality, unfair killings, or at the very least getting fucking beaten to a pulp by the police for essentially something that didn't exactly warrant that response from the police? After hearing so many stories like that, can you really blame me for feeling this way? People need to do what they did regarding direct action with every police brutality case. I hope. Derek Chauvin is a very, very, very tiny symptom of a much, much larger problem. At the end of the day, nothing is reformed. Everything is still basically the same. The only reason Chauvin is getting any form of justice his way, getting served any form of justice, is because of the outrage this sparked, because of all the protests this sparked, because of all the riots this sparked. If we were living in the fucking 1990s where no one had a camera in their pocket all day, 24/7, this would have been fucking swept under the rug. No one would have remembered George Floyd. No one would know George Floyd's name. No one would even know of this case. But since we do have phones that are capable of recording basically anything, because we have them with us 24/7, we can actually record injustices like this and bring awareness to them, and pretty much bring awareness to, people who would otherwise be ignorant, bring awareness of the injustices in our system to people who would otherwise be ignorant of the injustices within our system. I do hope that this does spark more change in this country, because, for the longest time, it felt like people were so complacent living under the system we live under. But it's very nice to finally see some pushback against it. The whole conservative philosophy when marginalized people are struggling is shut up and get in line, because they like it when people are fucking oppressed, especially when it's black people or really anyone part of a group of people they don't like. They don't outright say they hate N-words or anything like that, but just the way they respond to every time someone part of a marginalized group of people gets brutalized by the police, it's always, should have just followed orders, should have just followed the law. I don't give a shit what the fuck George Floyd did prior in his life. He still did not deserve getting fucking pinned down for 9 minutes with a knee on his neck. All that just for a fucking counterfeit $20 bill. Okay, I'm not defending George Floyd's prior actions. This is the straw man that so many conservatives bring up too. George Floyd is no angel. Look at this case from 2004 where he participated in a home invasion. He's no angel. He was a horrible human being. Okay, I'm not condoning any of that. But what he did at that current point in time did not provoke being fucking pinned down on his neck, pinned down with a knee on his neck in an amount of time that killed him. For an amount of time that killed him, sorry. Certain laws are social contracts, in my opinion. When the authorities, police, start being oppressive and usurp rights, That's when the contract is broken and protests should ensue. Conservatives should just be honest. They don't like minorities and love state authorities. Yeah, I'd be at least a little bit more appreciative if they just went mask off. I mean, at least in that instance, they'd be honest. I always use the war against drugs as an example of why we shouldn't always attribute our, how should I word this? We shouldn't always base our sense of morality around just what is illegal and legal, because, for example, drug possession, that is used as an excuse to jail so many black people within this country, and just marginalize people in general in this country, so prisons can continue to profit, because they have more prisoners inside of them. It's a huge example as to why we shouldn't just pay attention to what is illegal and legal, but instead form our own sense of morality. Maybe we should call certain laws into question. Maybe just simply obeying the law isn't always the preferable option in every instance, you know? Because there are laws that I think are completely unjust. Like, again, drug possession. What one puts inside their own body, no matter how harmful, should be none of my business, especially the business of the state. Want to fucking do heroin? Do heroin. You're killing yourself. I advise not to do it, but if you want to do it, I don't think it should be a crime. And if one ends up doing something horrible while under the influence, like, say, maybe they drive while high, or I don't know, they fly off the handle while high and attack people. I don't know. I'm not very educated when it comes to how people react after taking drugs. But if anything like that happens, it's not the fault of the drug. It's the fault of the person. We don't fucking ban alcohol because people drunk drive. So why do we have drugs? Why are drugs illegal? Outside of the obvious, again, to keep marginalized people oppressed. But I'm just saying, just factoring that out, I don't think they should be illegal. I remember EDP, right before he got exposed for being a pedo, he made a video about Dante Wright, and he was basically ranting on about how Dante Wright was a thug. He did weed under the age of 21. Like, oh, wow. Someone smoked weed under the age of 21? I never heard of that. Holy shit, weed. Oh, my God. Like, okay, he did drugs under the age of 21. How is that justification for him dying? Okay, like, conservatives, they have to fucking scramble for any excuse whenever a black guy is killed by the police. And I know EDP was black himself, but still. But hey, I consider preying on children considerably worse than doing weed, than smoking some weed under the age of 21. Fucking predatory piece of shit. I also hate the concept of just obey the law because, one, it promotes state conformity and not to question them, and two, there are tons of unjust laws, like you pointed out, that shouldn't be followed. Bingo. Bingo. That's why I want the abolition of the state, because the state enforces these laws that keep people oppressed. And I'm not like one of those anarchists that people love to use as straw men against people who actually know what the fuck they're talking about, where I'm like, there should be no rules whatsoever, even rules that are considered just, like mandates to stop to really slow the spread of COVID. I'm not like one of those people, all right? I understand there at least should be some rules people should follow if they're actually just and it benefits society. I actually did have someone in my Discord server the other night that I banned because they were railing against mask mandates, saying it's tyranny. The state should enforce people to wear a mask because the state has no control over our lives. They shouldn't dictate what we do, even though this is to help slow the spread of a fucking virus that has killed, what, fucking millions of people at this point. But no rules for all, even if that means we all die from a fucking virus. EDP also ranted about George Floyd saying the same thing and how he thinks that the majority of black men do stupid shit. Oh, yikes. Jesus. I didn't know his take on George Floyd. I kind of figured it was shit. Kind of figured he would say something like that, but most black men doing stupid shit. Jesus Christ. Okay, Jesse Lee Peterson. Dude looks like he fucking ate like 2 Jesse Lee Petersons. Maybe EDP should just kickstart a career as a conservative pundit. I mean, we already have plenty of pedophiles within the GOP, so he'd fit in, right? He'd fit in just well. What's this? Oh, God. George Floyd situation. EDP, deleted video, June 14th, 2020. I don't want to watch this. I'm not Vosh. I'm not going to do a live video response, especially not to someone like EDP. Still, I just find that hilarious. EDP, moral grandstanding about someone smoking weed at the age of, like, what, 19? Ooh, sorry. Smoking weed at, like, age 19 or 20 or however old Dante Wright was. I believe he was 20, right? Oh, God, he's not 21 and he's smoking weed already. Meanwhile, you are the one who tried soliciting sex from someone who you thought was a 13-year-old girl. So you really have no grounds to stand on, EDP. Everyone's calling a pedo in the comment section. I don't doubt that because that's just blatant hypocrisy. Calling someone else a criminal piece of shit, meanwhile, you're exactly that. I'm an anarchist that believes in forming morality based on reason and empathy. So while it's true all laws are man-made, doesn't mean that you should do absolutely whatever. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Anarchy doesn't mean the abolition of rules in general. It's just the abolition of unjust laws and a state controlling its citizens. Or at least having a stranglehold on its citizens. I just kind of hate that that's really the view of anarchism to people who aren't so well-tuned when it comes to anarchism. It's fucking frustrating because every time you see someone say they're an anarchist to someone who isn't exactly the most well-read on anarchism or really leftist ideology in general, they're like, oh, what do you want then? No rules? How's that going to work? No police? How's that going to work? How can society function without laws? They kind of correlate laws with like basic morality and rules that people themselves set, even rules that people feel are just, that most of society feels is just. And it's not exactly the same thing. He and Matt Gates would be great friends indeed. What do you think of people like The Quartering making too many videos on Brie Larson and Pokimane? It's fucking pathetic. Like, who fucking cares? I don't even remember what Brie Larson did. She said something about don't know, something that conservative dipshits construed as anti-white or whatever. And Pokimane, what's she done? What has she done aside from stream and play video games and have a weird audience of like 40-year-old guys? Like, I don't care. Focus on something that actually fucking matters. Anarchism to me means the abolition of all unjust hierarchies and people having control over their own lives. I especially like the concept of people helping one another via mutual aid things. Yes, that's pretty much anarchism, the abolition of unjust hierarchy, not the abolition of just rules in general, because, you know, that would just be absurd. Pokimane did the copyright strike on videos criticizing her, which got people shit talking about her. Well, I mean, that's completely different, but when it comes to, like, the whole simp thing, and I feel like people kind of go after her for kind of the wrong reasons, like she's a girl streamer, and I don't know, they kind of see her as an easy target in that regard. I mean, it's fucked up that she apparently false flagged videos. I'm not defending that, but I don't know, is it just me, or do women online get a little bit more hefty criticism than males do online? Because no matter how you slice it, people like Leafy definitely went on harassment campaigns against her. And ultimately, that's why Leafy got shut down, I think. I mean, he could say all he wants. Well, not all my videos that had Pokimane in the title were actually about Pokimane. They were just clickbait. Yeah, sure, but you're totally cultivating your audience to still harass her and attack her audience and things like that. You know, it still pretty much spread the sentiment that this is a person that should be at the receiving end of your scrutiny. So go scrutinize them, even if you did that unknowingly. Pokimane is the Anita Sarkeesian of Twitch in the eyes of people like the Quartering. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Oh God, the Quartering. I watched his video the other day about Steven Crowder getting sandbagged by H3H3 and Sam Cedar, and it was just coping. He was like, well, H3H3 duped him into thinking that he would argue him instead of Sam Cedar. Oh, boo-hoo. Like, no matter how you slice it, Steven Crowder looked absolutely pathetic. He flat out refused to debate Sam Cedar, even though he's lauded as this debate god, this intellectual overlord, or whatever the fuck, thanks to his stupid Change My Mind segment, where he doesn't debate people who actually know what the fuck they're talking about. He only debates people. I put debate in quotes. He only debates people who are just college kids who don't know much, so they're easy targets. But when it comes to people like Sam Cedar, veteran political commentators who are on YouTube, who are on the left, oh, I don't want to speak to you. I'm scared. I got to talk over you and then leave like a fucking coward. Steven Crowder is a grifter? Yeah. I've heard that he doesn't actually believe anything that he spews on his show. I watched Vosh cover the Crowder and Sam Cedar debate, and he brought up that Blair White mentioned that Steven Crowder actually isn't homophobic at all, and he doesn't actually hold the views that he spews on his show about trans people. But I don't know. I mean, is Blair White really a reliable source when it comes to that? Because someone could literally say death troll T-slurs, and Blair White would be right there defending it, saying, that's not transphobic. Here's why this person saying death troll T-slurs is not transphobic and is getting unfairly canceled. But if if she's really someone to go by and he really doesn't hold any of those views when it comes to trans people, well, then yeah, he's totally a grifter. Steven Crowder got so scared when Cedar came on. It was glorious. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was pretty depressed the night that came out, but then when I watched that, it really brightened my mood. You think the word simp is overused, like the word grifter, canceled, SJW, or woke? Yeah. I don't even like the word simp. I don't like using it. I know it's been kind of sort of co-opted by lefties as of recent as a word, as another word to describe something they like or someone they like, which I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Me personally, I don't like saying it because it's a very popular word among the right to malign against female content creators. And not to mention, there's a pretty degrading term anyway. Simp literally stands for what? Something about simp meaning. Urban Dictionary, give it to me. Suckers idolizing mediocre pussy. So it's a pretty denigrating and, quite frankly, a term that objectifies women, or really just, yeah, pretty much women. It's really the only people who are at the receiving end of that term. But yeah, that's why I don't like using the word. Pretty much boiling someone down to their looks and their body. I don't really like that, because that word kind of sort of signifies that you're not anything more than that. You're not someone who is independent from any of that. You know, your personality doesn't matter. Mediocre pussy, and if someone happens to be nice to you, well, they're just a simp. And alas, that's why I don't use the word. I mean, in certain contexts, the word is fine. I'm not going to scold someone for saying it, but that's why I personally don't like it and don't say it. I feel bad for Blair White to an extent because the people she associates with hate her, and it's only going to harm her in the end. But then again, she's choosing to stay on that route. I don't really feel bad. I mean, when you spend years being the token trans person for reactionaries, and then you end up being surrounded by a crowd of people that hate you, you kind of put yourself in that hole. Like, I don't know if you saw this, but Blair White and Carolyn, whatever the fuck her last name is, were debating two, like, pretty much outright fascists who were pretty much saying trans people are degenerate. There was this one fucking crazy lady, this crazy blonde lady, saying, if you actually want to help, just grow out your mustache and accept that you're a man, pretty much denigrating Blair White, saying the most nastiest shit to her. And Blair was just there taking it, barely pushing back whatsoever. It was just sad, absolutely sad, but I don't feel bad for her whatsoever because this is the exact spot she put herself in. Like, you would think that would open her eyes and be like, maybe the side of the aisle I root for hates me and I shouldn't associate with these people, because if they were to get any sort of power, like any actual power that would change the course of this country or the world, I would be going into like a concentration camp or something, or killed for being a quote unquote degenerate. But no, this is the hill that she chooses to die on, and thus that's her prerogative. If she has some people on the right being mean to her and saying the nastiest of shit to her, well, maybe she shouldn't have been a grifting piece of shit and embolden reactionaries and their transphobia. Most conservatives hate trans people. That's all there is to it. Yeah, she's also caused damage to the trans community by spreading false information about them. Oh, she has caused so much harm to the trans community. So much harm. Because she has spent years being the token trans person, one of the good ones. Pretty much saying, hey, bigot, your transphobia is actually justified. Now here's me, a trans woman, telling you why the way you feel about trans people is correct. And she's gotten so fucking popular off of this shit. She used to have 1 million subscribers. Now she dropped below 1 million because she got into that hot water some months ago. But still, she still has a pretty significant audience. And I'm sure throughout the years, people have used her videos. No, definitely throughout the years, people have used her videos as a means to spread hate in regards to trans people. Again, use her as a token. Be like, oh, I'm not transphobic because this trans person is saying the exact same thing I'm saying. They agree with me. And then they use her videos as a justification to remain hateful, probably show her videos to other people who may have been on the fence and may have been for trans rights and would have been heavily pro-trans people if not shown her videos and other videos of the kind. Overall, just fuck the whole anti-SJW movement. I'm absolutely fucking ashamed that I once took part in that and took these kind of people seriously. Not just harm towards the trans community, but towards people who are sexual abuse victims as well. Oh yeah, oh yeah. When Hunter Avallone left the right, he was called a grifter, which pissed me off. Yeah, unfortunately, I was one of those people. I guess at the time, you can kind of justify why I was very weary when it came to Hunter Avallone's radical shift in political views, but at the same time, if Hunter was truly a grifter, he would just keep doing what he was doing, the anti-feminist, anti-SJW, anti-left-leaning views and general content that he was doing for years on end. That many videos of those kind that he made amassed like hundreds of thousands or even over 1 million views. But him sticking to his guns and being truthful and actually, sticking to the values that he feels are just, he lost a shitload of fans. He was at like over 600K at one point, and now he's at what? I subscribed to him recently, but I forget his exact sub count. 585K subscribers now, and his videos barely scraped 10,000 views. I think some of them only have like 7,000 views. Just a piss in the bucket compared to what I once had. So if you want to call that a grifter, you might want to refine your views and refine what you consider a grifter, because for me, a grifter would be, again, someone who is doing exactly what Hunter Avallone was doing some years ago, even though they may not even believe what they were spewing in their videos. And if Hunter were doing just that, if you were like, I mean, the content I'm already doing garners in a lot of views. I may not believe the shit that I'm saying anymore, but I'll still make this content because people love it and it brings me a lot of money. He would absolutely be a grifter, but I really commend him for making that video, coming out and saying, I'm not part of the right anymore. And now he's a pretty progressive guy. I don't know if he's, I don't know if he considers himself a centrist anymore. I think he considers himself a SOCDEM now. Some people watching this probably know a lot more about Hunter than I do, so feel free to correct me on that. But still, it's still pretty commendable that he did what he did, And shame on me for at least insinuating that he might be a grifter. Because at the time, I was a big purity lefty. I was very gatekeepy. And again, I watched that video I made when Hunter Avallone first came out and said he's not part of the right anymore. And I can see why I was concerned, because, again, for years he was making hugely reactionary content, and he did some pretty irreparable harm to the discourse with his videos that have reached the eyes of hundreds of thousands or millions of people in some cases, who are probably who and those videos probably would have been their introduction to more reactionary viewpoints, and they're still the way they are to this day. And also, what was I going to say? I was looking at the chat for a second there. Who are probably even more hateful pieces of shit and are probably outright neo-Nazis now. And again, their introduction to these kinds of views might have been Hunter Avalanche videos and other videos of the like. So I can understand the concern there. You know, I wasn't completely on board with sanitizing Hunter Avalon right off the bat, but he's a pretty genuine guy. And I like his content. I was watching some of his Jimmy Dore videos, really enjoyed that. I'm cute. Oh, thank you. I'm not gonna. Okay, I think I'm ugly. Okay, but thank you. Thank you. I feel like Hunter has redeemed himself a lot. Oh yeah, big time. Holy shit! Compare how he is now to how he was just like 2 years ago. It's a fucking night and day difference. Thank you, Mikey, for looking out for me after I got suspended from Twitter. I have no clue who you are, but you're welcome. Sorry, but it's understandable for someone to be concerned about another person when they've caused a lot of harm, but you should give people a chance to improve. Yeah, I'm really trying to be better at that. I don't want to be as gatekeepy as I was a few years ago. Not a few years ago, just a year ago. Because after a certain kerfuffle with a group of people some months ago on Discord, I really learned that gatekeeping and purity testing people is very counterproductive and will only keep people away from keep people who would be a bit more sympathetic towards leftist viewpoints and maybe would be on board if they're on the fence and thinking about it, but thanks to these fucking assholes who want to purity test people and be like, you said the N-word back in 2017. We don't want anything to do with you, even though you might completely disavow that now. It doesn't matter. You said it, so it doesn't matter. You know, I think those people are an absolute fucking detriment to the movement. And I try not to be like that anymore. Because, again, I understand now that if you actually want positive change in this country and you want to get more people on board with positive change in this country and frankly this world in general, you can't purity test them. You can't shun them because they may have said some things that are reprehensible years ago that they now disavow, or did things years ago that they now disavow, unless of course they did something absolutely reprehensible like rape a child or something. But all in all, unless they did something that extreme, I think they should be forgiven. And people should understand that they've changed. Because these same lefties will always preach about reform every time, like, say, an African American is killed by the police. We'll always talk about rehabilitation, every time a black person is killed by the police. And I absolutely agree that people can be rehabilitated, even if they were criminals prior. I'm not trying to malign that viewpoint whatsoever, but they talk about rehabilitation when it comes to those people, but when it comes to, like, saying some stupid shit on, like, Twitter from 5 years ago, they're all like, no, you can't be part of our movement. We hate you. Get the fuck out. It's very weird. That's all I'll say. Your thoughts on Review Tech USA? He's all right. I only watch him for, like, gaming news. He's my main source when it comes to that. I don't really care too much for his content outside of that. He's not a chud or anything, though. He's actually a pretty progressive guy. He made a video about the quartering recently, and I think it was pretty stupid and petty beef, but still, it was pretty cool to see him go against the quartering. And oh god, his audience had an absolute meltdown. His audience is fucking terrible. Like, absolute reactionary dipshits. Most of his audience is. But I guess that's kind of what happens when you're part of the gaming community, because unfortunately the gaming community is infested with trash like that. And I remember I didn't watch it. I just kind of clicked on it for a second out of curiosity to see the ratio. He made a stream about the Steven Crowder and H3 and Sam Cedar debate a few nights ago, back when it happened, and he was basically lambasting Crowder and saying Crowder is an absolute coward, and he got dislike bombed to hell for that. There's a lot of people on Twitter like that, unfortunately. Yep, and they're an absolute hindrance to the leftist movement. Some leftists argue that gatekeeping can be led to more people going further right. They say this because of how excited the right gets when they want to teach newcomers about their shit ideologies. Oh yeah, it definitely pulls people further right. Again, people who would otherwise be a little bit more sympathetic to leftist views and would be willing to learn more, and people who are on the fence, who, again, if they were to be taught more, maybe they would be on our side, but they're shunned by these stupid fucking gatekeepy leftists who want to dig up tweets from like 2016 where they say the F slur, the N word, and even though that person disavows that now, it doesn't matter. Oh, they said it. They're a horrible person forever. And then they go to the right, and they don't see any of this purity testing bullshit. They're accepted right away because the right will accept anyone and everyone. I wish this is something that more lefties would realize, but God, the online left is such a fucking toxic cesspool of stupidity. I hate it so goddamn much. Oh, you can tell this really frustrates me. VTech USA took part in Gamergate. Yeah, I know that. He does still have some chud viewpoints, so I'll admit that, but overall, I don't think he's a bad guy. He's better than a lot of the gaming channels out there. What? I created a new Twitter account, then my Japanese girlfriend followed me on Twitter after I sent her. This might be another troll. Yeah, Guitar Rocker, you can decide what to do with this person. It might be another one of your trolls that were invading the chat earlier. Like how they'll pull out bullshit statistics about minorities committing crime, white people being oppressed, while etc. While the left tends to say things like educate yourself instead of teaching them. Here's the thing: I don't really consider myself good at teaching other people when it comes to things like that, or really anything in general. I'm not the most knowledgeable guy, but I'm not going to shun them because they may have some viewpoints that I disagree with. If I feel like they can be rehabilitated and they're actually willing to be part of the cause, then cool. Maybe I'll point them to someone who would be much better at teaching them leftist ideology and things like that. UTech USA is the Kyle Kalinske of gaming channels. Maybe, I don't know. Have you heard about how much of a racist asshole EDP's friend Felipe is and how he tried to dox someone? Is that the friend that he lives with now? Because I heard he doesn't have his own place anymore. He lives with a friend. Is that who you're referring to? Which, if that's the case, I'm not surprised whatsoever that he associates with people who are almost about as much trash as he is. When it comes to the whole educate yourself narrative, I do agree that people should educate themselves, but it's also important that more knowledgeable people educate those with less knowledge. I think the point that Jonah was making was just saying educate yourself isn't enough, and it's kind of sort of patronizing to those who are willing to learn more, because it's kind of like saying I don't have time for you, you lesser knowledgeable piece of shit. Go educate yourself. Hello, Anthony, the Sunny Day fan. I don't know what you're saying what to. And those newcomers will feel a sense of acceptance and comfort knowing that they belong, and that's when the right radicalization can truly start. Yeah, absolutely. And I wish more people on the left would realize this, like I've said a billion times over at this point. Yeah, I know. I know lefties who realize this too. I don't associate myself with purity testing lefties anymore. God, I'd never want to associate myself with that crowd anymore. So I do get that there are a lot of people who realize this among the left, and quite frankly, most of the left aren't made up of people like that. It's just that these people are a very loud minority, and they're such a detriment to the left because these are the people who are usually characterized as SJWs, and they serve as a good pawn for the conservative straw man that all people among the left are purity testing assholes who will shun you for saying something stupid like 5 years ago. Things like that. No wonder right-wingers call purity testing lefties an SJW. Yeah, that's pretty much where the saying or the insult or whatever you want to categorize it came from. It's because of these very, very annoying, loud, vocal minority of lefties who are like that caught the attention of right-wingers, and they used that as a perfect opportunity to pretty much, I guess you could say, smear the left and pretty much tell people who aren't so well tuned in politics that this is the left, this is why you should join us, because we're nothing like that. You don't see any of that among the right, so join our side. We won't purity test you. I'll be honest, I'm not always great at educating people myself, so I try and point them to other leftist people like Chomsky, Zinn, etc., so they can get an understanding. I also like reading a lot of the Anarchist Library. That's a great website. It really helped me with my knowledge on anarchism. I think I still have some ways to go. I'm not by no means an expert, and I don't think I ever will be, but just reading helps me gain a better understanding of what it is I'm talking about and the ideology I ascribe to. I don't really like calling myself a hardcore ANCOM anymore, anarcho-communist, but I do feel anarchism is the ideology I ascribe to the most and what I think society would benefit the best from. And I've always been a person who has always hated authority. I never really liked sucking it up to people who feel like they are above me. I've always been kind of a nonconformist, I guess. And that's kind of why anarchism has really gravitated towards me. Because to an extent, it's all about nonconformity. Fuck unjustified hierarchies. Fuck hierarchies in general. People should just be the people should just be who they want to be, with the absence of unjust laws holding them down from being who they want to be and oppressing them. Again, I don't want to sound like the conservative straw man of what an anarchist is. Oh, anarchism is when no rules. Of course not. There has to be some form of, I guess, there has to be some form of moral values people should follow in an anarchist society. But when it comes to unjust laws and the state keeping people oppressed, that's basically what anarchism is all about, abolishing those constructs. It always gives reactionaries a way to lump in legit history about trans, black, gay, etc. people with saying things like reactionaries should never be forgiven, or former reactionaries, I should say. Yeah. I never mean to get too political in these streams. I always kind of liked these streams being a nice breakaway from, like, you know, the politics and more serious stuff. But I really do like these conversations. It's fun. It gets me passionate. And it's nice to see the chat, you know, interacting and, you know, talking with me about this stuff. You know, just a few years ago, I should say it. I had a lot of dipshits watching me, a lot of like dumb kids, you know, who were pretty toxic, and I would hope by now they grew out of it. In fact, some of them actually did. I have people from years ago who used to be really annoying kids now talking about like abolishing capitalism, and it's so cool. But for the most part, those people are gone, and I'm happy to foster a much better environment, you know? I'm going to head out now. I enjoy being here. See ya. Well, I'm not going to be streaming for much longer, probably for less than 10 minutes, because this has already gone on for 2 hours, I think. I'm ready to wrap it up soon. Yeah, an hour and 57 minutes. Jesus Christ. I learned some of this from people like Daryl Davis, whose mission is to get people out of the Klan. Ex-members have told him they like the Klan because of the sense of brotherhood they got. Yeah, more people need to understand this. A lot of people aren't just part of the Klan because they're racist, but also there's that factor. They felt like it was a place that they were accepted in. They welcomed these people with open arms. You know, it's not just garbage beliefs that led people to being part of really hateful groups of people, but it's also, you know, the sense of not feeling like you belong in other places and other spaces. And certain really awful people take that to their advantage and use that as a means to groom people into believing really hateful, disgusting ideologies. So that's why the dehumanization of some people who are on the right kind of sort of irks me. I mean, I'm not going to be nice to anyone who is saying black people are degenerates or anything like that, but still, you kind of have to understand how they got to that position. Maybe factors like their upbringing, or, you know, again, like I mentioned, the feeling like they don't belong, so they found a group of people that, well, took advantage of them and their feelings of loneliness, and were like, hey, we'll make you feel like you have a place in life, join us. And then they groomed them into believing the most hateful shit imaginable. These are factors that most people don't really talk about, and they just want to boil hateful people down to being hateful pieces of shit because they were born hateful pieces of shit. They're racist, they're bigoted, and I would agree with all that, but still, you have to understand how a lot of these people got to the place they are. A lot of it has to do with grooming and, you know, again, people taking advantage of other people feeling like they were left out in other places of society. Maybe I should make a video about that. That's actually a pretty interesting topic to talk about, I'd say. Feeling of belonging can really go a longer way than just gatekeeping people because people naturally like to feel welcomed. Doesn't justify hateful groups at all, but it plays a huge role indeed. Indeed. Speaking of Review Tech USA from earlier, I got a notification that he uploaded a video. YouTube boss Susan Wojcicki responds to claims that YouTube rewards drama. I don't know anything about that. I don't really pay attention to Susan Wojcicki or any of the drama surrounding her. I kind of have my gripes with people who say Susan Wojcicki needs to go, and if she goes, then YouTube will be substantially better. There's a lot more factors to YouTube being shit than just, her being CEO. I don't think her stepping down or having her position revoked in any sort of way will change YouTube substantially and make it a better platform. There's kind of sort of more into what goes into a company than just the CEO. And yes, it's perverted. It's a perverted form of love and acceptance because they're being indoctrinated into hateful ideas via mental grooming. Yes, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I'm definitely feeling a lot better. I was in a pretty shitty mood earlier because I was woken up early from the sounds of banging and tools because, again, we're going... my house is being renovated and major construction going on downstairs. And also because, I don't know if anyone watching this was here earlier, but I beat Persona 5 and the ending made me cry. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Video games can get me emotional sometimes. Well, with that said, I'm ready to wrap it up now. As usual, my voice is giving out, but thank you for being here. Thank you to all those who were here before that are not here now. I appreciate every single person that was watching this. Yes, even the trolls that tried raiding the chat earlier. Hey, your view counts, and you're still engaged with the stream, so good job. But yeah, this is a great stream. Wasn't expecting to have this much fun and wasn't expecting to get so passionate some portions of the stream. And also, not to mention, Derek Chauvin's sentencing went down while I was streaming, and you got to see my reaction live. That was pretty pog. And also, I got money for the first time on YouTube from doing these streams. Thank you, especially to those who donated. I'm so grateful. And after I end this stream, I'm definitely gonna claim the money. But yeah, anyways. Take care, all of you. Have a nice evening. And see you in the next video.